Hello readers, welcome back. So today I'm going to summarize a text named As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. It's about Syrian revolution. It is a work of fiction, and as the writer herself puts here that this actually tells us about how dictatorship responds to these kind of revolutions by unleashing hell. And in this book there are two things mentioned. One is the Syrian military and another is the Free Syrian Army. And this Free Syrian Army is the one that's helping the revolutionaries, and it is referred as FSA in the text sometimes. All these characters that you can see on your screen, they are all living in one city. The city is Homs. It is located in Syria, of course. And we have the first character, Salama. She is the protagonist and she is the one who is narrating the story. She is 18 years old and is a pharmacist. Then we have Hamza. Hamza is Salama's brother. Then Layla. Layla is Salama's childhood friend. They are basically besties and they have been living together. They have been neighbors. Their mothers have been friends. And Layla is married to Hamza. So Layla is Salama's sister-in-law. Then we have the character of Kenan. Kenan is a 19 years old boy. He loves to do animation. He was doing his degree in computer science, but because of the revolution, everything has stopped. Then we have Yusuf and Lama. Yusuf and Lama are both siblings of Kenan. Yusuf is now 13 years old and Lama is 9 years old. Then Dr. Zaid, he is a really brilliant doctor in their local hospital. He is the one who looks after everything. He is basically their head doctor there. Then we have the character of Am. He is also in the hospital. Then we have a character of Khauf. Khauf is not a human. He is not an animal, but a figment of Salama's mind. 7 months ago, Salama's mom died in bombing, and since then she had been having hallucinations. So this man appeared one time before her and she was really startled after looking at him, and then he introduced himself saying, "My name is Khauf," and that he is going to visit Salama sometimes. But Salama actually detests him in the story because he shows her what she has actually lost in her life and all of her past memories. Even he shows her the future or what's going to happen. Salama doesn't like him, but in my opinion, Khauf is the character who is guiding Salama throughout the novel. Whenever she is feeling depressed, he appears there and he consoles her. He tells her that what you are doing is not wrong, just do it. And then he is the one who knows what's going to happen with Salama. For example, in the story, as the story progresses, there is a time when the hospital is going to be bombed and Salama doesn't know about it, but Khauf appears and he guides her. So this is one of my favorite characters in the story other than Kenan. So the background of the story is that mother has already died and Layla has also lost her father and mom. She is the only child, so she is left alone. She married with Hamza a couple of months ago and now they are living in the same household because that household is near the hospital. And what happens is this is one day Hamza and his father, Salama's father, they both are going on a protest and all of them are worried, Salama, her mom and Layla, that will you be all right, because everyone, the military is against those protests and they say that no, if even something happens to us, you need to take care of each other. And then they go and they are captured, or what happens to them, nobody knows. They never come back. And they, after some time, after a week, Salama's mom also died. So only two people are left now, Salama and Layla. And that's where the story starts from. Salama goes to the hospital every day. She was a pharmacist, but now she is promoted to the level of surgeon because they don't have so many nurses. Even every single person who was working at the hospital, whatever post he had earlier, he or she is now working as a surgeon or nurse. And they have shortage of medicines, they have shortage of water, even food. On her way, Salama notices that there is a long line in front of the bakery and people are standing in queue. People do not know whether they are going to get bread or they are going to run out of it. There is really scarcity of food. There have not been any shipment made for medicines or food. So she goes back to the house, meets Layla, asks her if she has eaten anything because Layla is pregnant and she is 7 months pregnant. So she is in her 3rd trimester and it is really hard for Layla to walk that much. So she stays at home all day. It is only when Salama comes back from hospital that they talk, that they cherish each other, because from the outside world they are just saddened by the reality that hits them. Everywhere there is bombing. They can only see grey color that is there because of the ruins of the building. They can only see blood everywhere in the streets because bombing can happen anytime. And not only bombing, but snipers can happen too. So this is the life that they are living there. When it rains, they put the bucket outside so to collect as much water as they can. They just have a few medicines of Panadol, and that Salama has saved so that if Leila goes into labor, can at least have some medication to give to her. In the hospital, this person M that we talked about earlier, what he does is people who want to go out of that place, homes in which they are living, who want to go to Germany or other places to feel safe, because here they are just losing their families, they are just losing themselves, and nothing is happening. They contact this person M, and M arranges a ship for them. They had to go through so many posts of military, and at the end, through that boat they go to Tartus, and from that they pass the Mediterranean Sea, and from there they go to Italy, and then in Italy there is a bus waiting for them that takes them to Germany. So it's a long way, and there have been people who have been dying while doing this, but people only think that because if we even stay here we are going to die eventually, right? So why not just go there, why not just take that risk, why not that take that might life? Because here if we stay in homes we are going to die, but if we go there to Germany we might die. Just for the sake of this might, they go there and they take this risk. Now Leila offers the same thing to Salama, that why don't you talk with M? I think that we need to go there. I don't think Hamza would like you and I to raise the baby here. But Salama is really reluctant because she says that we do not know whether Hamza and Baba are dead or not. Yeah, if they are dead, then it is okay, we can go, right? But what if they are alive here and someday they come back and we are not here? What will happen then? So this thought only prevents him from talking with M. But at night, when she is in her room alone, Khauf appears, and Khauf asks Salama that you need to talk with M at whatever cost, otherwise I'm going to ruin your life. And then he snaps his finger, he changes the scene, and he shows Salama what could happen if they do not leave this place. He shows her how Lela can be dead, how the baby can be dead, how Salama herself can, I mean, she can be tortured, right, in so many different ways, because if military captured her, they can rape her, they can do anything with her. So she cannot risk her and Leila's life just because she thinks someone is alive. And Salama thinks that okay, I will talk with M in the morning. And then in the morning when she goes to the hospital, she meets M, and she asks him how much will it cost. M tells her that 2,000 would be needed for you and for the other lady. Salama thinks that 2,000 is too much. He tries to bargain, but he doesn't bargain. He says that these are not the matters of emotion. I have been doing it for a very long time, and if you have money, you can go. If no, please don't play with emotions, okay? Because it's not the game of emotion. Just when you have money, contact me. I am here in front of you. Salama is hurt by this thing, but of course she cannot do anything, right? This is M's business, and he knows how to do this. So she comes back and tells Leila this, and then Leila asks her that, but you need to bargain. Did you bargain and everything? She then tells her everything, and then they both are getting skinny. Everyone in the town is getting skinny because all of them are malnourished. A few days passed, and one day Salama is at the hospital when a person comes in the hospital. He is 19 years old boy. He is Kenan. He is looking for the doctor in the hospital. He is really worried. He's sweating and everything. Salama goes to him and asks if everything is okay. And he tells her that his sister is not feeling well, and he couldn't bring his sister here. And so if it is possible, then Salama can go with him and check his sister. Because in the bombing, his sister also got injured, and then they did the operation, and these operations were without any anesthesia. So he tells her that the operation went well, but now his sister is feeling pain in her abdomen and he doesn't know what to do. So Salama agrees on going with him. Salama goes with him at his home, and then there is a piece of shrapnel that's in her belly, and Salama cuts it, takes it out, and then does the stitches again. Everything happens. The girl feels all right, and when Salama is coming back to home, there is bombing outside and there are sounds of snipers and everything. So Kenan asks Salama not to go and just stay there. So Salama stays there in Kenan's home that night, and while she's looking at Kenan, she realizes that maybe I know this person. And then she asks Kenan, do I know you? Kenan says no. But then at night, Kenan tells her that yes, we were supposed to get engaged a year ago. The family had arranged their meeting. Kenan's mom came to Leila's and Hamza's wedding, and she really liked Salama and she wanted to get her hand for her son Kenan. But things couldn't happen because of revolution and because of the bombing and everything, and then parents died. So they were left alone, and Salama is really astounded by hearing this, and she spends the night there. And then when in the morning, Kenan takes her back to her home. Salama tells Layla everything. Layla is really excited to meet Kenan, and Layla teases Salama too that, oh, this is the start of your love life and everything, because in that time there was nothing that they could find solace in. So these imaginary tales, these things were the only things that could just prevent them from overthinking. And also Salama got to know that Kenan used to film the revolution, and he used to post it on social media, on YouTube, so that people should become aware of everything that's happening. Salama asked him whether he is worried about it or not, whether he's worried that if he's caught, what would be his reaction. And he says that I'm not doing anything else for my country, but this is the least that I can do. At least I can make a few people aware of the real conditions, of the realities here, because he says, I don't care if I get only one view, if I can change the perspective of only one person. And people write comments like, this coverage is better than any news channel's coverage. So he says this is what actually encourages me to live here and to fight for my country. After a few days, Salama is sitting in a hospital, and there is a boy who is about to die. His name is Ahmad. He is 6 years old, and he tells Salama that, Auntie, don't worry. When I die, I'll go to heaven and I tell God everything that's happening here. At this point, Salama has got a soft spot for Kenan, and she asks Kenan if he would film it here in the hospital. And then they ask Dr. Zaid for permission, and Dr. Zaid gives them the permission. Now Salama and Kenan are working side by side. They are really happy. Hof appears sometimes, and Kenan also thinks that there is something wrong with Salama, but he didn't ask her, and she also didn't tell him. So one day Kenan's come to Salama's home and asks her that if he can take her to somewhere, and Salama agrees. She tells Layla she's going. Layla says that, okay, I'm really happy for you, just go and come back home quick before night falls. Salama goes, and Kenan takes her to an old building where his home used to be, and they sit there and watch the sunset. Salama's life has been surrounded with grey clouds, but watching the sunset made her realize how much she missed these colors. At this point, she starts telling Kenan about the stories that she used to write and the stories that she wants to write in the future if she gets life. And Kenan also tells her that he is in love with animation. His favorite movie is The Castle in the Sky, and how he wants to work in the studio and write do these animations. And then they think that, oh, if life be, then we can collab together and we can work together. After some days, once when Kenan and Salama are at the hospital, Yusuf came, and in his hand is Lama, and they both got worried that what happened, but Lama was just dehydrated, she just needed care. And with time, Kenan and Salama got really close. And one day while Salama was in the hospital, she saw that Am is coming into the hospital, and in his arm is this girl. She is his daughter. Her name is Summer, and she is also really small. She is the age of Ahmad, like 6 years old, and she needs stitches on her neck because that is bleeding badly. Salama is the only one there who could help her. So Salama actually used her mind and said to that I have one condition, that you will take me and Layla and these two kids, basically Lama and Yusuf, because Salama has actually talked with Kenan. Kenan don't want to go to Europe, don't want to go to Germany, but has agreed that okay, Yusuf and Lama can go. And so Salama is now talking with saying that your daughter could die, just agree that I cannot give you $2,000 for each person, I'll give you $1,000 for each person, and on top of that I'm going to give you a gold ring, and I can give you some Panarols too, because there is a scarcity of medicine. To medicines also looked at as jewels. After hearing this, was in complete disbelief because he couldn't do anything. It was a matter of his daughter's life, so he just agreed. Then days passed, and whenever and Salama used to face each other and Salama asked about his daughter's health, he was like, oh, you should not talk about it. You know, I actually know who you are now. And Salama was really ashamed what she did, because she thought that I played with someone's life, although Am's daughter was now healthy and she was getting better with time. But still, this conscience was killing Salama. And even when Khof used to appear, and in this point Khof appeared and asked Salama, you didn't do anything wrong. That was the only thing that you did right. Because he was not agreeing for, that you can go there, but this was the only thing that you could have used against him, and that you did. Every human does that, and it's completely normal. And that actually gave some satisfaction to Salama, but Salama was really worried that what if Kenan find out about this, what will happen then. And then Salama got the news that her father is dead, but Hamza is alive and he is in prison. and to be dead was better than being in prison because they could do all type of torture on you. Some more days passed, and now it was the first anniversary of the protest since the revolution started. So Salama thought I should go there, and then Kenan also agreed on going there. They both went to the protest, and Layla asked Salama to take care of her and Kenan. But then soon bombing started, and all people had to flee for their lives. Kenan and Salama also fled, and they took solace in a building. And they are in a building when Kenan proposed to Salama, and they thought, okay, everything in life is just going miserable, and we are soon going to leave the country. So why not just do the last happy act there so that they can also have a good memory to remember Syria with. And then Kenan gave her his mom's ring that is really big for Salama's size, so she put it in her necklace. And then Salama asked Kenan if they can move in with them because the place where Kenan and his siblings are staying, that's not safe and bombing can happen anytime. So they agreed on moving in with them. And then in the next day, they went to Dr. Zaid in the hospital to ask him if he could officiate the wedding, and then he did. They both were married. They moved in with them. And when Salama came home, she was telling Layla about everything, how they have gotten married. Layla said that she cannot attend the wedding because she is pregnant, right? She cannot go there. But Lama and Yusuf attended the wedding, and even everybody in the hospital was there, so everyone was happy. It was the happy moment that they could have cherished there among all the miseries that they were going through in life. So when she comes back home, she's telling Layla about everything, and then suddenly Kenan appeared from behind. And at that time, Salama asked Kenan to stop because he says, oh, Layla is not wearing a hijab. And Kenan is in disbelief. Kenan is standing there. And Salama is telling Layla to wear hijab quickly. And Layla says, I don't have a hijab with me. How can I wear? And Salama says, but okay, Kenan, you back off. Why are you still standing? And then Kenan takes some steps forward, and Salama is like, what are you doing? I'm asking you, Layla is not wearing the hijab. And Kenan says, Salama, there is nobody here. And Salama is again in a shock that what? But she says, no, Layla is here. Kenan says, there is no Layla. And Salama is stuck. She is like, no, Kenan, please tell me whatever you're saying is untrue. Whatever you're saying is a lie, that you can see Layla right here sitting behind me. But then she realizes that Layla also had been just a figment of her memory, and that indeed Layla had died 5 months ago, and there was just PTSD that she was experiencing. Layla was also nothing more than a hallucination, and she has been living with that memory. She has been living with that ghost for the past 5 months. She has been talking with her. She has been finding solace in her company. So it was again a moment that cracked her. But then she accepted it, and Khauf appeared. Khauf also gave her some encouragement, and Khauf said that still you have to go. You don't need to stay here. You don't need to stay here for Kenan. And Salama tells Kenan about Khauf. Khauf is really nice with Salama. He really encourages us, and he says that, oh, I know how to cure so many things, but I do not know how to help you in this. But once we are in Germany, we will seek help. Kenan was really reluctant on going to Germany because he thought he should stay here and fight for his country till his last breath. But then at the same time, he couldn't leave his brother and sister alone, right? And he also had to take care of Salama now that she was his wife. So he agreed on going there, and he also stopped recording on because Salama besieged him to stop recording, otherwise he lost his life if he were captured. And now one night Salama decided to stay at the hospital. Kenan also stayed with her, and so did Lama and Yusuf. But at that night, 3 military men appeared in the hospital, and they had a little girl whom they were torturing. Salama went and threw something on one of the men, and then he put rifle on Kenan. He was about to kill him, but he didn't, and he was trying to rape Salama too, but somehow Salama was saved, although there was so much of fist fighting going on. There was so much of other torture going on, but somehow they were saved. It was that Dr. Zayed called the FSA, that is Free Syrian Army, and then they came there and they outnumbered these 3 men and they killed these 3 men. So next day when Salama woke up, she was actually really hurt, and there were so many stitches on her neck, but Kenan was beside him. So the relationship that Salama and Kenan have in this novel, it is just exemplary because they both take care of each other so well. If one is feeling low, he asks other to tell him the story, and so does the other. Then a few days passed, and Salama is in the hospital, and suddenly Khauf appears, and Khauf asks Salama to quickly leave the hospital because hospital is not safe. If those three men could come here, now this hospital has become the target, so you need to evacuate the hospital and ask everyone. There was some logic in what Hoff was saying to Salama, and Salama knew that now Hoff will not appear when they move to Germany because Hoff asked her so that you're not going to have these visions or these hallucinations anymore. I won't appear there. I'll be everywhere. I have so many different names. I am called Fear. I am called this or that in different languages, but I won't be with you then. So Salama got this realization and he thought there is some logic in Hoff's point. So they went outside. She asked everyone to evacuate the hospital. She talked with Dr. Zaid, and Dr. Zaid also started doing it because Dr. Zaid said that I myself have not been able to contact FSA, that is Free Syrian Army, for 3 hours now, so anything can happen. They all started evacuating the hospital, and while they were doing it, the military started bombing the hospitals. People were dying. There were children in incubators. Some of them, Dr. Zaid and there was a person, Noor, they took out, and then they gave one to Salama to take it Dr. Zaid home, and they all come back home. And finally, after a few days, the 25th March was approaching. It was the day when they had to leave Syria, when Am had to take them out of Syria, and Am had to take them to this boat. So on 25th, they all are really excited, but Am backs out. I mean, what can happen then? But then the day arrives, they go there. There are so many checkposts, and somehow they are saved from all those 15 to 20 checkposts that comes on the way. And then they went on a boat. On the boat, they had to they took those life jackets with them, but then they, while in the Mediterranean, something happens to the boat. The boat was about to sink, so all the people had to jump. Although Kenan had fever and he had taken Panadol tablets, they all were holding each other's hand. They all were trying not to drown. They all were talking about past and present and future, and so many different possibilities, so many different beautiful scenarios that they could talk about, so that just to have some light in their eyes, just to not sleep in the Mediterranean Sea. They were really scared of sharks. They were really scared of different other sea animals, but they didn't lose hope. And there we have a flash forward in the novel where now Lama and Yusuf, they are with their uncle in Italy, while Salama and Kenan, they are in Germany in their home. They have set up their apartment. Their university is going to start soon, and they are talking about writing the novel and then animating and living this whole life together. One thing about Lemon, and this is how the story ends. One thing about the Lemon that was so important in this story was that while they were going on this boat, on this ship, Layla asked them to take lemons with them so that if they feel seasickness, lemon would help them. And then there is another quote that is really famous for this. It is that every lemon will bring forth a child, and the lemons will never die out. And another point that whenever Salama and Kenan come close, Salama could always smell lemons. And then one time she asks him, "Why do you always smell like lemon?" And he says that that is my father's clone. And now that they are in Germany, in this apartment, they have also planted a lemon tree, and they are waiting for it to grow. They are looking at it. They are talking about it. They are sitting beside it. That was the novel. To read about everything that was happening is just heartbreaking. I have missed so many points. Of course, I couldn't cover them all in this one video, but they were just a little too much heartbreaking to put into words here. Otherwise, I would have been making an audiobook of 10 hours or 11 or 12 hours. So this was the novel. I hope you liked it. Thank you for listening and take care. Bye bye.